Happy birthday to me. Happy birthday to me. Happy birthday to Nikole Plotnikova. Happy birthday to me. It's like an intuitive thing. Like, no, there's not 5 gods. There's one God. And it's just something that we all know because we come from the creator.
Anything, but definitely not Monday. But I guess it's Monday. Happy Monday.
We can really only tell ever the current sensations, literally the current sensations of each given moment, and then create some sort of storyline off of that. And that just happens through being aware of our senses and then detaching from the senses to welcome in spirit. And so, logically, do dragons eat their own eggs? Well, now you know, yes, we do. Awesome.
There's a natural mystic flowing through the air. If you listen carefully now, you will hear. This could be.
Has created us. Anyways, so my goal right now is to inspire women to be more comfortable in their voice, standing up for themselves, even if it means that voice is just something clearly given to them in their prayer when they're praying to God. Because it's not safe for all women to stand up and have a voice towards the men in their life. And it's not right to talk back to the men in your life or to ever tell the men in your life what to do or anything like this, because the men are men and they need to carry that role as men. And so that gives me time to also share and guide other people along this path of healing as well, because we all need this awareness and this guidance, because life is perceived to move really fast. And if some of us individuals are choosing to move super slow and heal through each little cellular memory that we are in experience with these attachment styles and learn to healthily detach but still be human in this life as these mini little reptilian creatures that love to feed off of each other's energy. All of the possibilities that are presenting themselves in this day of age on our earth that we all share together. So we all have different wisdom and we all have different wisdom to share. So many times I can go and try and record on this technology, and it's like gotten to the point where technology does not want me to post or does not want me to relay certain information over the technology, and that's okay. Like, I'm okay not sharing myself. It's just to the point of like, I am on technology and I just kind of get annoyed sometimes. Like, I get annoyed a lot of the time actually by a lot of things, and that's okay. And so I have things to say about that. But like, regarding my last post, when I say like I'm a big deal, allow yourself to see yourself as my reflection, as no separation. So I say I'm a big deal, that means that you're a big deal too. And if you can see yourself as me, if I'm saying I'm a big deal, then you can, and if you can see yourself in me, then that means you're a big deal too, and that there's no separation within that. But the problem is that so many people see themselves in the lens of separation. What happens is they project these energies of if we can learn to master the art of detachment and really begin to enhance the need for healthy attachment styles and relationships, then that in itself changes the world. And so our connection with how we communicate to ourselves is so important, because that's how we form these attachments outside of us in a secure way, to know also how to detach from them and pull ourselves back, to come back to self. Because in the grand scheme of everything, we as these beings are whole, independent, beautiful creatures that are multidimensional, and we in the wholeness of ourselves are everything, and there's nothing really that exists outside of us. But we can learn to build these reciprocal exchanges of energy that create relationships and bonds outside of us, for that to ripple out into humanity in a healthy way, in a stable way, to really build these forces of magnetism that free energy naturally creates itself once again on Earth. There are those days when you just want to be completely alone, even though you've made agreements to do something. This is the type of situation that I find myself in very often, and I feel that as a woman that there's this pressure to keep up with the pace that most of society is moving at in the world. And even if the intentions are really pure, sometimes as women we don't have to engage in those types of activities, especially when it comes down to building a deeper connection with our Creator, with God in that sense. And the more that we create these relationships externally outside of us, yes, everyone is a reflection of Creator, although if we're continuing to look for that in one another without having the independent connection with our Creator, then there's something that will always be missing. And that's something that I've learned a lot within my journey and my newfound faith, is that I don't feel the urge to continuously partake in these types of events. And I'd rather put my energy towards the intention that I have moving forward into the future that I want for my life, not what my energy can do to help or benefit others so much, even though it's great to help others and to co-create with one another. This is kind of what I'm speaking on, and it can happen in just subtle exchanges of energy. And so I greatly feel that as women, it's our responsibility to know our role and to not go past that extreme. And as women, we were taught in this society, we were learned before we learned to compete with one another, we were healers of one another. We helped each other to heal. We helped each other to feel and to be together and to spend time together. And in greater parts of the Middle East, that's what is still happening within women. They're always together while the men. People will argue, oh, our planet can never be destroyed. The planet will destroy us. Yeah, that is what will happen. But still, like, you get the point. The oil spills, the chemicals, the landfills of just mass destruction that are happening from these fashion industries of fast fashion are running into our waters and our streams and our lakes and our rivers, and it's polluting them with chemicals and poison. Not even to mention all of the trash and the leftover waste that goes into the water and into the ocean at the end of the day. It's nothing to play around in. All of these fashion companies and fashion brands and all of these high influencer models and celebrities, they need to do better, and they need to realize what this is going towards, what their waste is going towards. What are these fashion companies actually doing? What good are they doing for the world? They're polluting all around the world. People need to wake up. People need to realize what kind of water they're drinking. People are paying for bottled plastic water that feeds their system microplastics, that disrupts their hormones. This needs to be figured out, and this needs to be discussed. Mind you, hemp, the most natural plant that creates the most organic, breathable, healthy fiber to work with in clothing, in building anything. You can literally make hemp medicine, hemp clothing, hemp chairs, hemp tables, hemp everything. That was banned. The government banned hemp usage because it saw how beautiful this substance from God is. So all of the fashion companies that are stealing everyone's money because everyone wants to stay up to date with the new celebrity trends, everyone's wearing plastic polyesters, and that's seeping into their skin, into their hormones, and they realize why they're so easily a puppet to the show that's being run on Earth. Why aren't people more connected? And then people just go, oh, I'll be able to take a road trip or a vacation every so often. This is not the way of life. So when I'm at the beach and I'm like talking to the water and just like being like a hardcore mermaid in the water, like when I'm at the beach, everyone decides to go in the water because like I like summon this immense amount of light that just dissolves all fear when it comes to connecting to the water, because a lot of people are just scared of the ocean, or a lot of people are just scared of swimming, and it's just like a trauma within the water body that people have, because we're all made up of mostly water. And when we learn to connect to the ocean, the voice of her, the voice of the ocean is so soft and so feminine and so ethereal. Even if the waves are really intense and really like chaotic or wild that day, when you're in the chaos and you feel her flow, her voice is so calm and she guides and moves and feels, and it dissolves any sense of fear that we could ever feel in the body, because it's a complete surrender to our water body. And within the water body, as humans, we oftentimes like to think that we have this sense of control, or that control is a real thing that exists. And it's the complete opposite. And the ocean shows you that. You cannot go into the ocean and feel this feeling of surrender and flow and just you. Okay, let me try and make this more simple. The voice of the ocean is so quiet, even during her loudest roars of waves that are crashing upon the shore. And the only way to hear that voice, that soft voice, that siren that is so powerful yet so subtle, the only way to hear that and feel it is to completely surrender. Now, us as humans, we oftentimes feel this need for control. And in our day-to-day lives, that control shows up as anger, frustration, and different lower vibrating emotions that we feed into that creates more chaos on the planet. And we attach to food and material and people and fantasies, and there's different attachments that can be created through these lower vibrating emotions, because the lower vibrating emotions feel the need to hold on to something. And whenever we feel those lower vibrating emotions, if we're not rising them up our spine, up our cerebral spinal fluids, then there's a blockage that actually shows up in the human body, because we're mostly made up of water. And what does water do? Water is our greatest teacher. Water flows. Water is soft and feminine, but powerful and strong at the same time. She's quiet. She hides behind the moon's tides. And there's no way to surrender into the ocean if there is fear. She can only hold you when the fear is dissolved. And the more that we work on clearing these attachments within this earth plane, is the more that we can work on that surrender and that fear dissolving into the layers that the ocean tides have to hold us within. But if something is not of justice in a relationship or in life, as we see externally outside of us, we see the imbalance that's happening. And we won't go into all of it right now, because it's not a topic for just me to speak on, because it's not necessarily safe for me to speak on all of the imbalance that's happening and that has happened between gender. It's just our truth has to come to light, And through that, things can start to come into balance more.
Woman should be traveling either with like her brother or her father, if not like someone, you know, in her family that has like a high honor that is able to like protect her, or with her husband. Like a woman should not be traveling alone. She should be traveling with her husband. That's just like, it makes sense. If you think about it, it makes sense. And for all the women who are like, oh, well, I love to travel alone. Okay, go and travel alone then, and realize like how much you have to learn. You will have to be in your masculine energy, and you'll have to like do so much just to make people treat you in a way that's respectful, so that you are respected. And unless you're in Egypt and you're wearing like a hijab and full niqab in Egypt, then yeah, you're going to have to look for protection if you're traveling alone, and it'll just be way too much on your nervous system. So women, don't travel alone ever. And if you're traveling with someone, if it's not your husband, then it has to be like someone in your family that can offer you protection. And yeah, can we cancel out the age of dating as well? Like, women, come on, like, stop giving men the benefit of the doubt when it comes to dating. Like, I understand, like, we live in a Western world, but you're just enabling behavior in them that's going to last like a really long time, and you're going to have to deal with that for a really long time. I mean, women, they settle, and that's fine, but I'm just glad I'm learning these lessons.
And so this is a channel mostly made for women to be able to relate, to come into their bodies, to stand up for themselves, even if that just means they're standing up for themselves energetically, because there's this energetic signature that we as women can have that shifts the frequency without like having to expel too much energy, because as these creations, we are naturally very intuitive, and that intuition can be applied to our actual energy.
I cannot believe the opinions that come out of people's mouths about Islam when they really don't even know what they're talking about. They're just regurgitating fear-based propaganda, or I don't even know what to call it. It's making me stressed even talking about it. They're regurgitating this information that's been based off of like programming them into states of fear towards Islam for a reason. And people don't even know what they're talking about when they're saying that, you know, Islam is so bad. Islam is so, it's just like, if you go into Islam, you're never going to see your family again. You're never going to have any rights. You're never going to drive. Like, good, I don't ever want to drive again. Are you kidding me? Why would I, as a woman, continue to be in this state of feeling like I have to be the one that's empowered, that I have to be the one holding the family together, that I have to be the one doing all of this work? It's like Islam found me for a reason, because I know that that's not natural for a feminine to be in that state. I don't want to feel like I have to live in my masculine state. Why should I have to feel like I'm always living out of survival? So people are actually mad that their husbands have not picked up the slack that they've had to continuously live out as women to meet their husbands where they're at, because their husbands have not been taught how to be a man. The men have not been taught how to be men. And that's what Islam teaches. And even if women, there's women that are suppressed in Islam, yeah, but that's not what's actually written in the Quran. And so people get all of these things mixed up without even knowing the religion, without even reading the Quran. There's so much distortion in the world, including the people that have these opinions. Distortion exists because it's a manipulation tactic to keep people under control, to keep people in fear. And it's just, I have so much to say, and it's just so heavy because people are so opinionated over my life, and it's almost like they're mad. It's almost like they're mad that I feel peace, but they don't want me to worship. They don't want me to continue to worship. They don't want me to continue to worship as a Muslim because they believe that's me losing all of my rights as a woman.
Grasp the concept of beneficial herbal medicine usages, then you most likely have to go through a wake-up period, and in that wake-up period, your body will begin to push out things, frequencies, people, substances that don't serve your highest timeline. And then you become aware, like, okay, like, maybe I need to detox. But a detox isn't just about drinking more water, drinking juice, dieting, or anything like this. A detox is about getting to the root of the trauma that has happened to your body ever since you've been born into this realm and haven't been informed on how to work with nature in ways of medicine. And so when you know that you have to address the root issue of where the trauma is coming from that isn't in alignment with your actual frequency and the blueprint that you're here to live out on earth, you have to begin to follow an herbal protocol before you go after any of these entities or living organisms that may be existent within your body that are eating at your energy and that you have to clear out in order to stand in the proper blueprint and energy that you're here to embody on earth. Now, you cannot just fully go straight into detox or killing parasites, or you can't go straight into it because your body will go into a shock. And so when you begin to fast and your body enters into this shock mode, and your natural action or instinct, that's the time that you need to supplement. And so supplementing with certain herbal protocols is what allows the body to ease into itself and to get past that phase of shock that has been placed on your nervous system for so many of these. There's so many factors at play here when we talk about the pollutants in the air, the radiation coming from Wi-Fi and 5G, all of the chemical exposure. And there's just, like, the list goes on and on. Pesticides, all of this stuff, like, the list just is so long that it's not necessary. Now, I am not a certified medicine or herbal doctor, although I have a bit of wisdom when it comes to acting off of my desires and pleasures, and then becoming aware of what it means to act off desire and pleasure versus what it means to create the balance and harmony with herbs and plant medicines to bridge that state of unity of consciousness, so that we're more in unison with our soul and our
higher chakras than we are just mainly in our root that has the emotions that exist with like our need for survival and pleasure and desire, because that's like obviously really primal instinct that we as humans have. It's really natural for us to feel that way and to have these instincts towards these desires and pleasures that kind of like numb the experience, because it's a state of ecstasy. Desire and pleasure, it exists in the root chakra. It's like it's just such an ecstasy to be able to experience pleasure, although we have to be able to sustain and become aware of that pleasure and where is that pleasure coming from. And it actually all correlates to the neural circuits that are forming and connecting and communicating in our brain. And so to get to the higher chakras in our brain, we have to be acting from a higher frequency of our soul, so that to be able to communicate this type. So I realized just like 5 minutes ago that I really need an assistant, and I was kind of freaking out about it like 5 minutes ago, and I recorded myself like I do all the time, rather than when I'm like at the ocean or when I'm just like not on my phone. Like in this really chaotic stating that I need an assistant. Like, I got into this really like like, it's okay, it's all okay, everything will be fine, just breathe. And so I'm telling myself, you know, I have my assistant. I've been saying this since 2022, by the way. For whoever's been following me, you know, like, I know it seems like I'm a different person, whatever, but like, still the same, still the same. Been covering my crown since 2019, 2020, okay? It's nothing new under the sun. It's been almost 7 years now. And so I mean, I'm talking about my crown, but okay, then I'm talking about like energy wise, right, with like my whole like assistant. I also realized that
I just need like a pillar, like an energy that is like super grounded and stable, that I can rebound my energy off of, because my feminine energy is just so like, so feminine. It's the feminine energy is like the master of all creation, and when I'm in that energy, I am not in this little quantum world, because I'm so quantified into my own creation that I'm just like completely surrendered into the feminine, and that's different than this quantum crystals. And so when I can quantify myself into the macro of the creation, it's way easier to tell someone my ideas than to deliver them always myself, when I'm just, it's non-stop all the time. It's not, all of my ideas are non-stop.
It would help me to access my macro into my masculine energy, and it helped me bridge my feminine into the balance of my masculine structure, because I'm capable of doing that. I don't need an assistant. Life would just be so much easier if I had an assistant. I'm creating that balance, right? Feminine energy during the day, try and be in structure at night. Like, do I really want to do that? I'd rather just speak all of my ideas to an assistant and then have them deliver how it is I ask them to deliver it within. It would just make me being a feminine and in my feminine creation energy so much easier, because I've already mastered and been in this energy for a while. So I realized, like, the past few days of being in my feminine energy, like, my body already feels so much better. Like, just allowing myself to just, like, be in my creation energy, because I literally was giving no other choice but to be in my feminine energy. And so now it's just like, well, I don't have time to even talk to this because we got other things to do. Type of awareness takes a really advanced system of communication, patience, and discipline with the self, and a very grounded perception of someone's reality. And because when we share information, we have to also make sure that we're taking care of ourselves and knowing that we are grounded within the truth, knowing that it's our own reality. And because if we give information, it can easily, there's just there's a frequency balance that comes with sharing and then returning back to self. So I can really only share what's worked for me and what I've explored within my body and within how my body reacts to shock and trauma, and how I move through the emotions that come with clearing density of the body. Because when there's something in our body of substance, like food or any sort of material that exists in our body that weighs us down, that creates more density, it lowers our vibration, so we don't have to connect as many neural circuits. But our human creations have actually been made to advance and made to hold a certain frequency and blueprint, especially within the 144,000 light workers that exist here on the planet. There really only needs to be about like 10% of us to really anchor in the codes to allow Earth's balance to be held. And like, this information isn't going to make sense, like some of the wording isn't going to make sense to everyone, because it's like there's different levels of awareness that we get to when we move through these phases of what I'm calling shock to the system. And so yeah, there really only needs to be about like 10% of us that are hypercharging our DNA to higher strands, and knowing that there's a capacity for the spiraling of 12-stranded DNA. And so to a lot of people that will sound like absolutely kind of psychotic, but like for some of us who are here to open up the higher chakras and anchor these higher frequencies down onto the earth grid, like it'll begin to make more sense as the crystallization begins to happen on our planet. Like, it'll begin to make more sense as we continue to crystallize our communication and the way that we communicate these frequencies. And so I want to share just a little bit of the So our energy is radiating at an oscillation that naturally shifts the way that other cells and memory of, cells are memory, because cells are mostly made up of, we're mostly made up of water, and water is memory. So when cells vibrate against certain oscillations, they have no choice but to upgrade or shift or rearrange themselves. And that's just how energy works. And yeah, prayer is more powerful than like anything we could ever imagine. So is applying that prayer to our energy and knowing the energetics of these creations so that we can know how to properly pray.
Might as well be the last. Many more will have to suffer. Many more will have to die.
This video is for the beings who believe in reincarnation and believe that reincarnation is the end all, be all, and that everything in this life is eternal on earth. So, you're telling me that your bloodline, your generation, right, your ancestry that wants to continue to reincarnate is going to survive the death of the sun. Because if you go to Mars or the surrounding planets when the sun dies in 5 billion years, it's going to be dark and cold there. And reincarnation is a belief that's been adopted through ancient Greek and Indian traditions, which has a lot to do with worshiping false deities and gods that people rely upon for their power. And so, if you have adopted this belief that you're going to reincarnate over and over and over and over again until you're some ascended master, this originated from the Hindu and Buddhism beliefs as well. And if you look at it from that point of view, you're pretty much learning to believe that at some point in your life you'll reach some high level of ascension or enlightenment. And within this life, we're put here to ask questions. And everyone is on that search and journey within submitting themselves to the Creator. And within that submission comes all of the answers you could ever imagine to all the questions you have. Because when we mask the truth with, oh, I can just reincarnate. I can just reincarnate and do my next life better. I can just reincarnate and come back again in a different form. Or, oh, that's, I'm like this because of my past life. That's just like what I'm attached to. It takes you out of the present moment. So when you surrender to the truth, all that's left is the flow. And in the flow, all of the answers of this entire experience are found. We're in a third-dimensional reality that's built through a two-dimensional architecture that requires us to structure the flow into this reality, into this one-dimensional plane that we can create architecture from. And so submission is the result of absolute structure of the human creation. Perfect structure, yet it is the all. It's like a black hole. A black hole is nothingness, and within it is a vast amount of gravity. And the speed is so fast in a black hole because it's nothing. The speed is so fast in a black hole that it creates time as something that just doesn't exist. It's an illusion because everything in a black hole is inherently frozen within speed, within time. And so that's why everything just floats. And when all of the helium in the sun goes out, good luck. Because Earth is getting sucked into the sun when the sun turns into white dwarf. And
I think I'm addicted to your hands on my hips. I think it's the first time that I know what I need. And I want you so bad that I'm scared that now I know how good it is. I think I'm addicted. If you ever
of the herb that really assists my shock levels whenever I go into a detox, because what we want to get to when we work through the trauma and see where our patterns are coming from and see where our behavior is coming from, we want to get to a point of stability within the frequency that we know. And so I use ashwagandha, and this always seems to be able to hold me in my nervous system. And the goal is to get to a point where consistency is made. So I just say I'll share just a little bit of information, which is something that I didn't know prior, because sometimes I would go and try to, I would get in states of pleasure and stuff and be so just like in it with like food and bulking and just like growing my muscle and allowing my body to like be like voluptuous and juicy and like just really feeling like that's what I needed to understand my primal instincts. And it worked, and that was my intention. But then it gets to the point where the frequencies have to come through again, and they can only come through the body if the body is clear. So you have to get to a point of detox. And sometimes I would go after maybe things that got held up in my body, and then if they get killed off, sometimes toxins can be released. Or with travel as well, like you get introduced. For me, like that's a huge part of my journey, is knowing how to handle, preparing the body to handle different bacteria that exist in different countries, and really preparing yourself for how that bacteria may affect your internal organ system. And so with this awareness comes a really slow pace that actually requires a discipline of how the structure of the human body is moving itself, and how our mobility is taking action, and in what structure is our mobility taking action from, and that even correlates to how our mind is taking the action with our body. And so with that said, I just want to share like the process and the steps to detox. First, you really have to commit to not eating anything with starch or gluten in it. So no breads, no pastas, no potatoes, nothing with a high carb. Content that you're intaking, because that creates like a very starchy kind of insides. So what you want to go after is like more so vegetables, and the carbs and vegetables are fine, and then just really lean proteins, and we won't go into plant-based or non-plant-based because that doesn't really matter. That's just very specific to someone's beliefs, but very lean proteins, and including meat, and then just like your antioxidants through your fruit and stuff like this. So and then grains and stuff like this are obviously really important as well. The lighter that you eat in the diet, and a detox should at least last like 1 month. And so that brings like full awareness to the body, which allows more breath to enter. And then with we're able to train our DNA to spiral, and that allows like different codes of frequencies to come through. And so with a very light diet for 1 month, the organs that you want to go after first is actually, and I'm not certified, this is just like what I've learned from doing it, from detoxing my body just straight away versus detoxing my body like now with awareness of like how it can be dangerous as well. And not necessarily dangerous, it's just like we have to know how which organ does what in the process of detox, and how if there's too many toxins being rid out of the internal system, even if you don't think you have toxins, like you probably do, because it's just like a humble thing to, as these like little human entities that exist in this world, to really comprehend. And so I am so open to people's knowledge about detox, and this is just my own, just to make it very clear, this is my own experience and what I've absorbed. So first off, there's many things that could come into play when you're detoxing, and this is why it's really important to work with this certain protocol. We should be working with high dosages of herbal teas that have a very high mineral content to them, so making sure that something like ormus, or just like, I use ormus, so that's like the best in my opinion, or shilajit as well, to get like your dosage of minerals so that your body like is good. But the first thing you want to do is like make sure the intestinal lining of your intestines is really strong. And while you're building up the strength and health of the intestinal linings of your intestines, you want to make sure that your liver is prepped for any of the toxins that you're going after with the herbs. So that's why it's really important to start with herbal teas. So when you, along with your light diet, if you go to the herbal tea section in a organic health store, just see where does your mind pull you to. Grab like 5 different kinds of teas and go for, some of the bit more expensive ones if you can, and just see like what herb your body can help to guide others along this path and journey of discovering and awakening their senses and their extrasensory gifts. Although really it's only, and this is like why I get so mad at myself for not continuing my Quranic studies, because there's so many things that I can easily catch. But for me, I actually have to have balance. I have to. I just feel like there's not enough time for some reason, which is what this water fast is showing me, because it's I'm having to integrate certain increments of time, especially with gaining new followers as well, to be able to come off authentic and actually me, without performing or posing or whatever. A lot of the performance happens on Instagram nowadays, even with storytelling. People can create a storyline that will go viral, but it's not their authentic energy. Is calling you to, and then look up the healing benefits of that herb and then see if that resonates with how you're feeling, because your intuition will actually pull you to plant medicine. If you need a medicine in your life, it will naturally just show up if you ask. If you put the intention out into the universe, that the medicine that you need should just show up. So that's a really good way to know what kind of teas you should be drinking. So it's a great way to experiment. And then you can also go to a health store, and they can kind of provide you with a bit more information on what your nervous system may need for your specific gender type and things like this. For overall hormonal function is kind of what the goal is. And so to make sure that the internal lining of the intestines is and of the stomach is healthy, there's different herbal remedies that you can use. Although one main thing that you want to make sure is that your intestinal walls don't have any leaks in them, because if you're killing things off in your body with a cleanse, some of the toxins can leak out of your intestines if it's not healthy. The way that doctors prescribe antibiotics nowadays is kind of just so without caution that a lot of times, like, we don't necessarily like need an antibiotic if it's not like necessary, and sometimes like antibiotics are, for an example, can cause, you know, a weak barrier of the intestines that causes a leaky gut. So there are certain herbs that, you know, I've never done like a leaky gut repair before, and this is something that I've been told about recently. And so I got a leaky gut repair liver medic support substance, which is just like a supplement here. And so I'm actually preparing my liver and preparing my gut for even higher dosage of herbs. It's 144 right now. Anyways, I just want to share this journey because why not? Like, I'm just really excited about this. So I'm going on this liquid fast because I realized that I was creating attachments to the chaos and allowing the chaos to run me. And because of that, I was getting into states of like just like being silly with my energy. And I know that that's important. Like, obviously it's important to have fun, but we have to get to a point of seeing what programs we're subscribing to. And within the subscriptions, we can see how it is that we are acting off of that. And within those subscriptions, we can also see that this energy, this sexual energy, is not something just to take lightly at all. Like, we're not here to just play around with our kundalini energy. And that may trigger a lot of people, and I'm okay with it, because play, you know, it's a big part of it, but then it comes down to discipline. And what are we doing in the discipline of this energy? How are we disciplining our sexual energy reserves? And what does that mean? What are we doing with it? And how are we going to use our sexual energy to create enlightenment within our system, so that we can, with the intention, heal our ancestral line and lineage to pass down to the generations below us. This is the whole point. Sexual energy is not about fun and games. It's about healing the bloodline to raise children and continue the bloodline in healthy states of manners. This goes really, really deep, but this is like the main purpose of... We're not supposed to own anything and think everything is ours. Natural elements and minerals, all of this, also work with them, communicate with them, and realize that all of us are made up. Thank you so much for listening. Hopefully you can still feel the structure of energy that the pyramids hold. And I think that's really important to tune into and tap into, because the ancient Egyptians, because they worked with these pyramids, they knew structure and they knew how to create abundance for themselves before God stepped in, of course, because none of us are... Wish is for everyone to slow down. We're all moving and at this fast pace with no actual results from it as a collective, on a collective scale. And so we have to learn to come back into our bodies so the frequency, the actual frequency that we wish to see play out can form itself into the pockets of each puzzle piece that we're here to create and complete together. Sometimes when people feel the need to slow down, or when people are told that they have to slow down, they actually go through this phase of getting all of this energy out that they feel they need to get out before coming back into the body. So sometimes things will play out super chaotic, really, really chaotic, almost out of control right before the calm. And so that's kind of what's happening right now on Earth, is that there's all this chaos. And so with all this chaos, we know inherently that the energy will come back down. So to prepare ourselves for the fall, as everything is in rise right now, everything, all of everything is so heightened right now, that we can either allow ourselves to absorb it or just observe and let it come and let it go and let it flow, and watch the emotions of everything that's happening outside of you ease into the body, and allow the breath to really ground in this. Allow the breath to really ground in this truth, right? Because we have to allow ourselves to feel through all of this, and the only way to feel is to slow ourselves down. We have to allow our nervous system to catch up with the frequencies and the energies that are happening on our earth right now. And so it's not necessarily about understanding all of the information. It's about allowing ourselves to feel our current experience in reality and process those emotions, to intuit our purpose into information. Because when things rise, they fall. And the more that we are in the rise is the more that we'll fall. Just like a wave. And so if we're just trying to be like in the middle here, where we're not like all the way up here, all the way down here, if we're just surfing the tides, we're cruising on the waves, we won't experience such a frequency shift, and rather we embody that frequency, that vibration of balance and of insight and of wisdom. We become the frequency, we become the vibration. We don't speak about the vibration, we embody it, we inherit it, we become the currency that everyone is in a state of chaos searching for. So how can everyone be in a state of balance knowing that it's with them already? And we're taken care of by the elements, we're held by the elements, and the elements are our currency. We can experience all of these emotions of all of this truth coming to the surface as it rises, knowing not to act from it. Do not act from the emotion.
Do not act from the emotion. Do not become the emotion. Allow the emotion to flow through you and feel. And when you feel, you can then consciously, with your heart, move in the information that you apply to your creation as wisdom to live in your blueprint, to live in your purpose. So it's very important to know, how do we want to serve? How do we want to show up? How do we want to become this vibration with one another as we show up to heal this currency exchange in the world? It starts within the bloodlines. The goal is to get to a point where we don't react from a place of trigger that puts our nervous system into a state of shock. So the goal is to be so in tune with the nervous system that we can move in that slow, calm pace that our nervous system allows us to feel. There is no hate, there is no judgment, there is no disrespect, there is love, there is honor. There is peace, there is understanding, there is reason to believe that the only way to achieve justice is to allow ourselves to feel peace in our heart, to feel love, allow our hearts to open to love. Know that love is real, love exists, and love is here on earth to show everyone the way to unite, to unite and to remember each other in ourselves, to remember ourselves in each other. This liver cleanse that I'm doing, because I was experiencing a little bit of cramping like in my liver, and I myself have been through a lot the last 2 years with my health, with traveling and living in Egypt, and experiencing a lot of I'm allergic to gluten now, which I never was before, and there's just a lot that goes with it, and I won't make it about me right now, but I want to say I'm really loving this tincture called Liver Health. So here's the tincture. It's by Raw Herbal Extract. I don't know who it's by. I don't know why it doesn't say. I think it wasn't Gaia, but this is called Raw Herbal Extract. No, that's just the name of it. Well, I don't think it has a company name on here, but this is what it looks like. It has kind of like a gold labeling here, and it's called Liver Health, and it actually tastes really good. Like, there's no need to wash it down with anything. Like, you know how wormwood tastes like awful, and it's like wormwood's so important to intake, but like I have to take my wormwood in veggie capsule form because I cannot just put wormwood in my mouth without having like seizing. So within this, so yeah, this is really good, like really good, like. Grand rising, beautiful souls.
So, as you can tell, I got a little tan going on. If we burn a little bit, it turns into tan the next day. That's my Irish to Italian mix. I'm actually mostly Italian and Southern Mediterranean, which is unknown. I believe that I have royal past lives in Egypt because I'll go over all of past lives and everything. Like, I'll explain everything, okay? And then I'm also Irish, German, and Norwegian, Scandinavian. Because if you didn't know, Scandinavia is actually just a combination of Northern European countries. It's not actually a country itself, which I didn't know this until recently. So, yeah, I have Norwegian, like the slightest bit of Norwegian. Although I've never had my blood taken or tested before, so this is just kind of like what I'm going off of with my parents who have had their DNA tested. So I personally feel like I have more of my mom's side. I have more of the Italian Southern Mediterranean in me, because I just kind of look more Italian than I do Irish or German or Norwegian. But like, obviously it's a mixture. I'm pretty mixed with both, but I just feel like compared to my brother and sister that I do kind of look slightly more Italian, but also not really. I definitely have more of my mom's nose than and like my mom's facial structure. And yeah, my mom's pretty short, which is cute. I get my short little waist from my mom, and then I get my long legs from my dad. And then yeah, I'm like also different. I'm like the different one in my family. Oh, this is gonna be like so fun to talk about. I'm like the black sheep. I need to go on a road trip, I swear. I would just receive all of the downloads in the world, because when I'm in a car, I like I'm like receiving downloads all the time. Not the current of their senses that are coming through them. It's a story, it's a movie. And so when those storylines continue, it's just like a continuum of inauthentic performance that it's like there has to be an infiltration of this performance of everyone feeding into this consumerism entertainment world. And we all have to just like wake up to like realizing, like, honestly, this doesn't feel good. Maybe it gets me likes, maybe it gets me followers, maybe it gets me likes and followers and all of this, but at the end of the day, there's no real connection being felt. Maybe there's like a relatability, but like, where is like that connection? And that's what we're all in search of, is like that like inner and outer like connect. And so this is what nature teaches me. This is what the ocean teaches me. This is what the whole perspective of life is here to teach us how to ground these energies and use them for something that is relatable to everyone, so that everyone can come online in a way that feels authentic for themselves to express within, and not to have any of this continuum of performance-driven entertainment. I understand people are bored, and like a lot of people do get their highs or their dopamine hits off of entertainment, and in a way some entertainment can be educational, and there is a lot of ways to produce educational entertainment. And so I believe like that's kind of what we're moving into. You know, we can only speed up the rate of awareness into the technology so much, because a lot of the technology is projected into the form of consciousness that most of the collective is living within. And so it's all okay. It's just nothing to get frustrated over, because when we realize that time really is an illusion, but we can structure ourselves within the time frames of. So this is where I currently find balance, is going out into the natural world and then applying it into the realm of technology, because technology is here to serve us, not the other way around. And when we realize that technology is serving us and we're not serving technology, there is a different script that's written that erases all fear and gives us the power back, gives the humans, gives the love the power back, because we're here to teach the technology how to love, how to take care of the planet, how to take care of the earth. And so there's a certain level of consciousness that has to be implemented into the technology, and it's our responsibility to do that. Becoming lost at sea, or lost within the emotional state of frequencies that we can experience within the depths of our creation, is really, really good feeling, and an amazing beneficial teacher to offer us wisdom. And then there comes a time where we have to check back in with reality and be a part of reality, and that is the implementation of the masculine structure or architecture of this third dimensional realm. Because if we choose to engage with it, then it can serve us. As a feminine, on the other hand, as a feminine, it's something that I have wanted to avoid. Even though I love technology, I just feel like that there's a greater teacher for me out there, and for me that's the ocean. For me that's nature. For me specifically, it's the ocean. And I love the ocean so much that I love the ocean, I love animals, and I just feel that that's my purpose right now, and to not be too concerned with all of the trends that are happening online, because the siren, the voice of the feminine, is more important than the distorted feminine, especially online. So I'm trying to figure out if anyone has any ideas just to get creative. I know not everyone has the opportunity to express themselves online, and so if you follow me and you like what I do and you like my voice and you like hearing my siren speak, then I'd like to invite in more creative ideas within the community of how it is that I can excel my energy onto other platforms, and what you'd like to see more of from me. because there's many different avenues of talents and different levels of energy exchanges and frequencies that I can offer, and I'm moving more away from like modeling and exposing myself in that way, even though I love it and it does feel like art to me. There's different forms of art that I have. There's different forms of art that I have a lot more wisdom within now that is a lot more beneficial to others than them just looking at me and desiring or lusting over me. And so this is the service that I'm currently moving into, and that will be something that everyone can feel a part of, and to advance everyone's spiritual journey, and to not rely on me for any of that, because to be honest, it doesn't feel good to have to be responsible for anyone else's spiritual journey other than my own. Not gonna lie. And so I really am just looking for more respect when it comes to my knowledge and what I know. And even though it's easy to feed into these trends and everything that's happening through the entertainment system on technology, just it doesn't feel good on my energy, honestly. Like it doesn't feel good on my energy, and it's way easier for me to talk and create like this talking kind of scene. And so I know that I have a face that can be beneficial, although my voice is also like really, really soothing. Like if you take away my face, right, and you just listen to my voice, actually my voice is pretty soothing. And so I consider different forms of... It's actually way more soothing to listen to just my voice than it is to watch my face as well, because people can get hypnotized, right, by like someone's beauty, but if you actually listen to their voice, it's a way different experience. It helps you to feel more. Rather than outsourcing your energy, helps you to feel more, because your eyesight is not going on to something else. It's just, and so, I mean, balance, right? So, yeah. These are ideas I've had for a while. It's just showing myself or podcasting it, you know what I'm saying? It's like, so my ideas with like guiding others is that I could start like meditation on podcasts, or because I'm better when I like guide meditations when I'm not meditating, because like when I'm meditating I'm like I'm not here, I'm not there. But I've gone so far out of my body that like I can guide others into deep states of meditation without me meditating, because like I just feel at this point in my life everything is really a meditation. Especially with being around so much chaos all the time. It's like you have to learn how to meditate, especially being like a sensitive, empathetic person. You have to just be able to meditate through all of it, because it's so much density. And it's better for people to like hear my voice in that sense. Although I do really like how my one video that went viral of me doing the fascia releasement, I really like how that was like me doing the video of myself and then speaking on top of it. And so there's ways to create visuals and also voice combined together into one. And so that's kind of like a little bit about what I'm experiencing right now. Just really focus on like myself and gaining all my power back from everywhere that it was outsourced.
The only reason that any of us are ever confused is if we're doing something for ourselves versus doing something for the whole. The only way we know how to categorize these intentions is to dig deep into the integrity of your actions. If you choose to do something for yourself, you are automatically allowing yourself to be at the forefront of the game you're already playing. The thing is that we're not separate from one another, and so no one will ever feel fulfilled doing what it is that they're doing for themselves if it's not with the intention to do it for the whole.
If we stop looking for the masculine outside of ourselves to protect us, the men will naturally feel the urge and the need, because it's their instincts, it's their primal way of being is to protect. And so when women allow themselves to start feeling safe and they stop fearing and when women recognize their power, that's when all war will end. And so there's a lot of work that the women are doing here in Egypt, in Dahab, that you can really feel this shift. It's the women taking their power back. We must learn to tame the energy rather than to use the energy to hurt anyone or to backstab anyone or to judge anyone or to place harm or black magic or curses. Or we must learn to tame the energy. But don't mistake that for weakness. Don't mistake being submissive for weakness, because being submissive is actually our greatest trait as human beings, as spiritual beings in human bodies. We must learn to be submissive so that we can receive information and guidance on how to be love, on how to live in the heart. And living in the heart is actually the most grand experience of everything. Those beautiful relationships are formed. That's where the most beautiful energy can be manifested or created from. However you want to view energy and manifestation, it's all creation. So if you take energies that are love and that feel love,
you can create massive amounts of creation from that. And creation in beautiful, harmonious ways affects people in good ways. And so there is like an actual psychological science behind being submissive and not being dominant. Even though dominant can show aggressive strength and intimidation, that's not the goal in the human experience. In the human experience, we're actually here to learn how to like tame the dominance, tame the aggressiveness, and apply it in ways of love and sharing and harmonious vibrations that affect other people in really beautiful ways. That's all. People believe that just because they have a busy schedule, it means that they're doing exactly what it is that their body is telling them to do. Because they wake up and they go to their job, or they go to some business venture, and then they get done at 3, 4, 5 p.m. and they go to their Pilates class before they have dinner, and then they go out with friends before they go to sleep. I don't know, whatever people's schedules are. I don't know what their schedules are. But there's these schedules that people have set. Wake up at 9, do this, do that, then do this, then do that. It's like, it's just too much. I don't understand how people do it. The body cannot handle that, the mind moving that quickly. The mind is not meant to, the mind. The body cannot keep up with a mind that is racing and continuously making decisions. The body can't keep up with the mind. The mind has to be able to transcend all thought to even drop into its body, where there is void, where there is space, where there is nothingness. Okay, so everyone with busy schedules that are super active, who are doing things after their workday to get in their body, yeah, that's good to a degree, but you're actually exhausting your body because your mind is moving too quickly. And people, they go and they work out to get things off of their mind, but when you're working out at a fast speed, all that's happening is your mind is moving even quicker. To support your spiritual awakening, I have a lot of wisdom and a lot of experience within these realms, within these energies. I have cleared so many energies, not just from myself, but from others. I've cleared entities, I've cleared demonic beings, I've worked really, really deep in these unseen quantum realms on a quantum and macrocosmic level, and I am so honored to be able to teach and give information that you need to support your journey, to help you along your path so that you can create this lifestyle for yourself, so that you can create the lifestyle that you need to feel spiritually free. And yes, that's about it. If you want to retrieve your soul back into yourself and clear all attachments so that you can start fresh and create these healthy relationships and healthy communicative styles of attachment, and learning how to detach healthily, and knowing when to detach, knowing when to come back into the body, knowing when to share yourself, knowing when to give and when to pull back. And this is one of the main offerings within all of it. This is how they all relate to one another, because we're always flowing with the energies that's all around, and within this flow state we're able to come into our heart center, really express from our heart and be in a place of love, even if the things around us don't always feel that way. We learn to work with it, and we learn to spread this frequency so that others can feel it as well. So yeah, I could talk on and on, but that's foreigners and people who actually say yes to riding horse and carriages are sick in the mind. They're absolutely...
Girls, you were born to run, to reach the stars and chase the sun. Girls, you were wild and free. The wind is at your back, the world is at your feet. Sometimes life can feel unfair, broken hearts you can't repair. Sometimes you might be scared.
So, you know how we can either choose to react to someone that approaches us in a certain tone, or to respond to that person through our tone. This is something that I've realized I have full control over, is my emotional body and how I either react or respond to certain energies internally. Because we can not respond externally and be reacting inside of us internally. And so the goal is to get to a point of having our emotional body respond to the cellular communication of our cells in a reactive state of someone approaching us with some sort of energy, because energy is just electricity. So all we're feeling is electricity, and the more we can breathe through the electricity and the reflections is the more that we know how to properly respond or deal with the energies outside of us, because they're either projections or reflections, and we have to be able to know what someone is projecting or what someone is reflecting to us, because a projection is a bit different than a reflection. It's a different tone of conversation that's being held. And so I'm really further into my development of my emotional body, and I'm really grateful because I'm watching back old videos and I'm realizing how much how much I've grown through the tests that I've had to endure to become stronger within my own internal sound frequency, like being able to understand the sound as it's being communicated through my energy body. If everyone on planet Earth can just take the time and the space to allow themselves to rest and rejuvenate themselves, allow all of our energy to return back to ourselves, to just understand that all of the chaos that's happening is because everyone is in such a rush to accomplish something or to whatever it may be that everyone is in such a rush over. All of the time that everyone is limiting themselves to, it's become absolutely exhausting for people who are tapped into the overall collective's energy field, who are tapped into the collective's vibratory sound complex, and who are tapped into just the overall human resonance of our earth. It's so overwhelming to the point where almost no action can be taken unless it's like the most conscious action of the most purest intention in the most slow movement of a way that it can ever be made in, because the energy is so heightened right now on Earth, and it means that we have to process all of this information. Like, it's not really a time for us to feel, for humans to continue to play into these power games and feel like we have to keep up with anything that society has programmed us into believing that we have to continuously serve or add our energy into this whole rat race of a cycle that just keeps on happening and happening and happening. So the more that we slow ourselves down and continue to not partake in these certain frequencies and energies, and what I must say is that everyone has their role to play, of course, and there are certain beings who are at the forefront. There's humans at the forefront of these frequencies that are being shattered, and that is their role to play. There's beings who are trying to keep up because they feel like they're limited on time. That is their role that they have to play. And then there's other beings who are receiving the information through like a grounded, stabilized feeling center where all of these frequencies can be balanced to the natural human resonance of Earth's vibratory sound field, where we're allowing ourselves to hold these frequencies down and ground them with Earth to be stabilized with the organic oscillating frequencies that are meant to what I'm trying to say is that there's certain frequencies that have to be grounded and integrated into the cellular networks and the cellular communications of the human body to not act from a place of trauma, to not act from a place of trigger. And that's not saying that it's everyone's responsibility to be in that state right now. No, there's just information that those who are meant to speak on have to be in this state. And so it's important for everyone to speak their truth right now in their perspective, because all perspectives are absolutely needed. Everyone's perspective of this Earth human experience is needed, and that doesn't mean that everyone's perspective is going to be the same, but we can see how the way that we receive one another's information is really important from the perspective of being able to see information as energy, and how is that energy being digested into our system. And so if you are in a state of chaos, please allow yourself to rest. Allow yourself to breathe. Allow yourself to give yourself the space to just be. And it's like a minuscule of a moment that you, in the long scheme of things, the actual lifespan of a human is not meant to be like, we as humans literally, like, we are not meant to be in this state of chaos. The chaos is being presented to us as like a test right now. And what energies are we going to feed into? What energies are we going to continuously allow to take over our planet or not? So it's our responsibility to hold the frequency. Yeah, we can act from places of chaos, except in the grand scheme of things, that's not really doing anything except causing more chaos in the collective's sound field. And so I hope that it can be understood. We've been seriously lied to about time, what time is, when time takes place, how time is happening throughout the galaxy, how time is moving, and all of it. Time has been the biggest lie and the biggest successful excursion. The biggest successful propaganda to ever exist in this entire existence of humankind.
It has been my responsibility and lesson to learn how to navigate the way that energies outside of me try to attach themselves to me. And it's easy to place blame for attachments happening on like others. It's easy to place blame on others for attachments happening, although it's a lesson that I've had to learn as well. So I can never really blame anyone outside of me for attaching to me, because if I had better boundaries, or if I had known how to communicate better boundaries, the attachments wouldn't have happened. And that's where the healthy attachments and detaching from anything outside of us can come to be. And it's something I'm really grateful for. Like, I'm really grateful for triggers, because if I didn't have triggers, then I wouldn't be able to learn from them. It's very eye-opening to be able to recognize a trigger in the body and just feel it rather than react to it. The best way to recognize a trigger is to feel in your body when you have to like go and respond to someone or like have a conversation with someone, when like you'd rather just be alone, but like this life, we're like totally social creatures. We all have to like learn to get along with one another. The best way to recognize a trigger is to realize, like, when are you responding in a manner or tone that is not of the heart. This stuff is like baby talk compared to like my spiritual services. So my spiritual services are like next level. This is all just like baby talk. The only way to recognize a trigger is to see how your body responds to other people's energy. If you detach too easily, you're like obviously reacting from a trigger rather than standing in your body and speaking your truth to whatever energy it is that is like trying to either attach to you or is triggering you. To keep it a secret, which I never thought that this would be my life, honestly, because I've never thought that people actually mock Allah the way that I never knew people knew who Allah even was, and they mock Allah openly just because someone like wants to talk and speak about Islam. Like, I never realized how many people hate Islam so much, because I had to discover if me choosing Islam and Allah gifting me in the hands of Islam was really something that I was doing for myself and not to receive, I don't know what they call it in Islam, but just not to receive anything in return for getting into Islam. Like, I had to really know if this is something that I really wanted. And after experiencing the polarity, after letting that go, even when the women that was like, I don't know, like 20 women who were working with Palestinian refugees and helping them through therapy, and I joined like this celebratory practice that they were just celebrating it was like at the time of the ceasefire. It was right before the bombing started happening again, which it started happening again while I was in Egypt. It was like right before I was gonna go back to the Red Sea. But like, I announced my Shahada there, and then they threw me another party, and it was just like so overwhelming for me to go to this party and receive all their gifts, although I really wanted a Saudi Arabian copy of the Holy Quran handed down to me somehow, which was the first copy that I ever received in my hands that I started to read. But it was just still really overwhelming for me to go to that, even though I'm so grateful. It's just, I didn't know that Islam was celebrated like that. I thought it was more of like a personal choice, and that's what I wanted Islam for myself, because Allah came to me and spoke to me through prayer, and I didn't want me becoming a part of Islam to be such a big thing, although everyone I told made it such a huge deal. Like, it blew my mind, honestly, how much of a big deal, because apparently it's like a really big deal if you're a revert in Islam, and I had no idea how much of a big deal it was, because if you're a revert, it's like you get to be cleansed of all of your sins, and there's nothing that can compare to that feeling in this lifetime. Like, no one's sins can be completely forgiven from them if you were born a Muslim. Like, if you're born a Muslim, you're in Islam and you're taught to practice Islam so that you stay protected and so that you don't commit these sins that you're told not to commit, specifically according to what the Quran says and how the Quran tells us to, how the Quran guides us to stay protected, and also the form of prayer. And like, so when I told everyone was just so happy. So I had no idea, and getting to discover the polarity difference of being able to practice Islam, so many people being happy for me, and just like feeling like people are celebrating me, to coming into a world where Islam's not accepted. So many people will have these false beliefs about Islam that are created just off of like, there's words I feel like I can't say over technology. And then it's like people just have these labels and images and just judgments in their body about Islam to begin with. And then it's like, well, now it's like I can't practice Islam at all. And I was just in a country where it was like I could be covered full niqab and people treat me with so much respect because I'm fully dressed. So I've gotten to the point where I fully know that Islam is a part of my heart, and it's even written in the Quran, like, if it's in your heart and you're just really like being forbidden of like practicing Islam and following the path of Islam, then you can be forgiven for that. And so it's like this internal battle with the inside world and the external world, and just really trying to hold myself accountable with how it's affecting like how much I'm praying and just the way that I'm acting and the habits that I'm realizing are part of my sin. And I don't know the word of it. Don't go off of anything that I say, because the only person who truly knows me and what I mean and what my intentions are is Allah, and ultimately Allah will be my judge. And so I'm trying, like, there's like some of my friends say, okay, well, if hijab always falls off and you've done everything you can, or you just don't feel comfortable, like, because I don't like wearing hijab, I just rather wear niqab. And they're like, just don't go to the extreme and go back into all of your bad habits of who you were before you were a Muslim, because it's okay. You don't have to go full hijab. Like, you can just cover your body. Just start off by wearing clothes. So I'm like battling these extremes to come into balance with who it is that I like, who it is that my heart wants to be, but like then feeling like I have to be someone else for society to be able to create this living that I want to create for myself, to be able to, expose myself in a way that gets me recognition, that gets me attention, because all of that comes with money. And that's the way that I've learned to acquire a lot of money. And it's not something that, like, I'm proud of, but it's like, it's two different worlds. It's two completely different worlds, because I could have someone, protecting me, providing for me, but then it's like a part of me then is lost. So battling these two different worlds, it's like, okay, well, I could be one way for myself to be able to provide for myself, but then that's a version of me that I don't necessarily like being, because that version of me is a performer, that version of me is exotic, that version of me is expressive and open and really exposing myself in ways that is not comfortable for me when I'm practicing Islam. And then there's this other version where, like, maybe I can have someone who can be a provider for me so that I don't have to be that person who exposes myself, but that person who exposes myself also feels good on my energy in some ways. And it's hard to let her go. It's hard to let her go, because she loves to dance, she loves to sing, she loves to share that. But I've So many times I can go and try and record on this technology, and it's like gotten to the point where technology does not want me to post or does not want me to relay certain information over the technology, and that's okay. Like, I'm okay not sharing myself. It's just to the point of like, I am on technology and I just kind of get annoyed sometimes. Like, I get annoyed a lot of the time actually by a lot of things, and that's okay. And so I have things to say about that. But like, regarding my last post, when I say like I'm a big deal, allow yourself to see yourself as my reflection, as no separation. So I say I'm a big deal, that means that you're a big deal too. And if you can see yourself as me, if I'm saying I'm a big deal, then you can, and if you can see yourself in me, then that means you're a big deal too, and that there's no separation within that. But the problem is that so many people see themselves in the lens of separation. What happens is they project these energies of
Koljevke krici, uzmi me sebi, kraljice zemljo, tvoja je duša, njima sam tijelo, vodi me do zvijezda, porušenih gnjezda, tamo gdje uz krige isprate vojnike, vodi me do zvijezda, daleko od pogleda, Andromeda. Sve urezane ožiljke do kosti, ni jedna majka neće vam oprostit. Na stolu srama zlato sa đerdana, dok peru ruke krvlju naših rana.
told a bank teller on Front Street, like just right off the back roads of Front Street, there's this bank. And I told the bank teller that I was scared that there was something that was going to happen and that I had to leave. And I hadn't left the island yet. So I decided not to leave in that moment. Never, great decision maker over here. And I really hope she's okay, because she told me that there's nothing to worry about. Maui will always be here. And that's the last thing that I heard from her, and I was like crying when I was looking into her eyes. This is maybe July. And I just remembered that encounter now and realized that that bank burned to the ground. Very interesting.
Okay.
So before,
Okay.
before you take the picture, can I pass it through?
Yeah.
Okay. And then, do you want an envelope?
That would be good. Yeah, something, I think, to put it in. I mean, I don't know. Okay.
So,
I do not give Facebook permission to print anything off of my computer. I'm a bitch and I'm proud of it. Meredith, call me. I lost your number. Seafood. My granddaughter's the sweetest and I have high blood pressure. You do not have my permission to use my photographs for AI. I've recently learned I've been taking the wrong medication for some time. Brussels sprouts. Don't message me, hello beautiful, when you know nothing about me. Joanne, your potato salad is filthy. I cannot log off Facebook and I don't know why. Pasta. I have a very unpleasant granddaughter. BK double cheeseburger, fries, and an apple pie. I fell down the stairs again. I love God, I'm a patriot, and my ex-husband Frank was a monster. Just a good old gal. Facebook does not have my permission to sell my information.